Been meaning to do this for a while. I've got my A-Type speaker that I pulled out of the hot rod when I swapped out for the creamback. So I thought I'd build a guitar cab to house that speaker. And you always need an extra guitar cab, right? Good people over at Implicit Audio sent over their 1x12 guitar cab for me to check out, and it's a really simple build. You build it yourself and you customise it yourself. It's a great little project. They've also got different types of cabinet available on their website, and it's worth checking out. But for now, let's see what we've got here. Let's get this built. So let's take a look at what you get in the box. There's the frame, and you also get the front. You get two sides, obviously, a top and a bottom. You also get all the hardware as well, and that handle's really nice. Now, one thing I noticed was in the box you get these 4 extra pieces of wood. You are going to need them. I thought they were just packing materials. So what I did is I laid it all out on the floor, and then I laid all the screws out and all the hardware in small little piles, which allowed me to then eliminate where things would go. So we're tapping in these little screw holders, and they're going to be for the handle eventually and to hold the speaker in place as well. What I pointed out there is you've got 2 slotted grooves in the wood, one slightly narrower than the other, so you just want to make sure that you get all the narrow slotted grooves all together. And it is fairly straightforward to put together. You can use wood glue. I just use No More Nails or liquid nails to put it together, and it went together really simply. It's almost like building a large piece of Lego, you know, really easy. And if you do get stuck on the Implicit website, I was using my phone, as you can see here, you can get the instructions, and I was just following those on my phone. And they're the extra pieces of wood that you're going to need, because I thought they were packing materials, as I said, but they're not. You are actually going to need them. Now, I guess it's a good idea if you've got clamps to clamp it. I haven't, so what I did is I just laid something heavy on top of the cabinet to keep it all together overnight. And then the last 2 pieces here are the rear baffle, and you've got the piece that holds the input jack. Now, I wasn't sure whether to add metal or plastic corners, because I might Tolex it in the future. Maybe a seafoam green or a sonic blue type of thing looks really cool. But for now, I think a nice dark stain will work perfectly. Filmed this part in the garage, obviously, because this particular stain has got a smell to it, and we've got a couple of cats in the house at the moment. But I chose this walnut stain. I've used it before on various projects throughout the house, so I had some of it. It goes on really nice and brings out the grain in the wood. You also only really need 1 coat of this as well, and it dries really nice. I decided to go over the entire cabinet, but of course, in hindsight, probably what you should have done, or what I should have done, is stained all of the wood first and then put the cabinet together, because otherwise it's just a bit of a pain to try and get in all the little gaps and all the little grooves. Really easy process with this stain. Just dip a rag in and then wipe it on. As I say, I've had some really good success with these Minwax stains. I used them on both of the guitar builds that I did. Decided to stain the inside of the cabinet as well, because if you look from the back, or if you look at the speaker from the back of the cabinet, it's nice that the whole cabinet's stained and that you don't see any of the birch wood inside. It just sort of finishes it off. Once it's stained, you can then put some of the hardware on. So I'm going to put the feet on here. I'm lucky to have the 4 feet, to be fair, because the cat found them and thought they were cat toys. He was batting it around the room. Anyway, managed to recover them from the cat, substituted it with a toy that he would like, and now I can put the feet on the cabinet. The handle is just screwed on simply, and it screws into those screw clamps that we hammered in earlier. Really nice quality handle actually, it feels really solid. And now's the time to fit the A-Type speaker. I've had it in my understairs cupboard ever since I swapped it out of the hot rod for the cream back. And just here I thought, it's not going to go in, I'm going to need to remove one of those baffles, but luckily it did. And just put these screws in finger tight, as I had some experience when I swapped the speaker out in the hot rod, because if you put them in finger tight you'll get them all in and you can tighten them afterwards. And here I'm just going to solder the wires for the input jack. Nice and easy to fit the input jack. It comes with 3 Allen screw bolts. They're not quite Torx, but they're Allen screw bolts. And then once that's in, of course, just connect the speaker wires up, clearly marked on the back of the speaker. The grill cloth was another choice to make, as there are a ton of options. But in the end I went with the classic black and silver cloth from StewMac. And it's easily changed in the future if I decide to change it up a bit. They had a whole range of Tolex on StewMac's website, and I couldn't decide whether to go for like a classic Vox or a Tweed or something more modern, you know. But then I just looked at my Fender hot rod and I thought, silver and black with a dark wood stain, that will look fantastic. Now this stuff is really, really thick, because I was also worried that I wouldn't get the frame in. I was thinking, how am I going to get the frame on? Do I put it on with magnets? Do I screw it on or whatever? But in the end didn't need to, because this is a really thick material. So don't be afraid of pulling it tight. If it was any other fabric, then you pull it tight and you're going to get some sort of creasing in it. With this stuff, absolutely no problem at all. Just pull it nice and tight, get it stapled on. And I tucked the corners as if I was wrapping a Christmas gift. That was just the way I did it. And of course, once that's on the frame, it fitted absolutely perfectly, nice and snug, so I didn't have to worry about any fixtures or fittings to make sure that the frame stayed in the cabinet. Currently I've got the Hageman 1 water connected to it for a more British mid-range sound to complement my Fender scooped sounding amps, and I can switch my pedal board between the 2 amps. The only tools I needed were a screwdriver, a hammer, some wood glue, or in my case no more nails, a stapler to fit the grill cloth, some speaker wire, which I ordered with the spade connectors already fitted from Amazon, and a soldering iron. And it took me around an hour and a half in total and was really simple. You get the instructions on how to do it from the Implicit website, but I started by laying it all out, sorting the screws and hardware into little piles, and it just made more sense where everything went that way. I'm so pleased with it. The cabinet is Baltic birch and sounds very resonant. It's really reminiscent of the original hot rod cab, to be honest, and it's got a nice weight to it, 17.5 pounds, and I can use the A-Type speaker whenever I like. Now that I've got an amp cab I can use in the future. It's going to be a really handy thing to have, me running a guitar YouTube channel and all that sort of thing. And you can also check out the prices at Implicitaudio.ca, as the price has come down recently, and you get to make your own custom cab and make it to your spec. It was really easy and a really fun project, to be honest, and I really enjoyed doing it. If you're thinking of doing it, then check out Implicit Audio and let me know how you get on. Cheers.